Star Wars 7x7 episode 2370. Today, I am continuing my series of looks at what happened with Star Wars in 2020 and what's ahead for 2021. Specifically today, we're going to be talking about live action series. Punch it. Hey Rebel Rouser, I'm Alan Voivod, and this is Star Wars 7x7, your daily dose of Star Wars joy. And thank you so much for joining me for it. So we have live action series on the docket for today. Yesterday we talked about movies. Today we're talking about live action. We ended 2019 and went into 2020 on January 1st of 2020, having had the first season of The Mandalorian in the books, and wow, oh wow, what a great start they launched with. It was fantastic and was the banner show for the launch of Disney Plus as well, so you could definitely say that the primary reason, if you wanted to pick one show that debuted on Disney Plus that could be held most accountable for its success at launch, it would have to be The Mandalorian. And so much so that they released the Disney Gallery series about The Mandalorian, the 8-episode series looking at all sorts of behind-the-scenes aspects of The Mandalorian, and that was really awesome as well. In fact, we spent time here on the podcast talking about all of those elements. What a fantastic look behind the scenes with conversations from all sorts of creatives, writers and directors and visual effects people. Brilliant stuff, really wonderful. Meanwhile, season 2 of The Mandalorian was already in production, and with the onset of the COVID pandemic and the shutdowns that happened as a result, we didn't actually hear for a while whether The Mandalorian had been able to complete filming prior to the shutdown, and it turned out that it had. They had basically just gotten under the wire. I think it was like 4 days prior to shutdowns happening was when the final day of principal photography was for The Mandalorian. So yeah, they really just got in under the wire. And they had to pivot to figure out how they were going to do the post-production stuff remotely, and they did it. They figured it out, and so they launched in October and had another great season. Of course, we've talked about that a lot over the past couple of months, so I'll let those episodes speak for themselves. And this time it seems like we are not getting a full, multiple episode Disney Gallery series. They released a Disney Gallery show about season 2 of The Mandalorian on Christmas Day on December 25th, and we will be talking about that eventually. But yeah, it doesn't seem like we're going to get the full treatment the same way that we did for season 1, unfortunately. But still, it is great to get something, certainly, for sure. As far as other live action series go, well, we have the Andor series, which we found out on Disney Investor Day that it is in production. It has been in production for a couple of weeks now, and production will continue into 2021 with anticipation for a 2022 release. We don't know when in 2022, just that particular year. There's also the Kenobi series, and that is supposed to be going into production. I think they had been anticipating January, but now they're saying March of 2021, and so production will be happening for that, and probably, I would imagine, a 2022 debut for that as well. So Andor and Kenobi, 2022. And then, of course, there was the series that was not announced at Disney's Investor Day, but was revealed. It was saved for the final episode of The Mandalorian. That, of course, would be the Book of Boba Fett, which, according to the title card they threw up at the end, will be coming out in December of 2021, which means that they've got to get working on that right now. I presume that they've already done some stuff, but as to whether they can get production up and running now, well, I guess we're going to have to see what happens with the continuing situations around lockdowns with the COVID pandemic, but their intention at this point is for December 2021. And similar for season 3 of The Mandalorian, they said at the Investor Day that they were looking at Christmas 2021 for that. That could certainly mean that it's in the month of December at some time. Christmas is a thing that sometimes movie studios like to say that it's going to be around that particular season. And I would like to say that I'm optimistic about that, but unless there has actually been any shooting done on this already, that there's actually been some production work that's happened on either of those two series, I feel like 2021 might be pushing it for that. I don't like to be thinking that way, unfortunately, but just, with the reality of the world in which we're living right now, unless there's already been some principal photography that's been done for either of those two series. Seems like 2021 might be pushing it a little bit. But then again, season 1 and season 2 of The Mandalorian debuted in the Octobers of their respective years. So the fact that they're saying December or Christmas, maybe that's factoring in challenges that they are having with production shoots and principal photography around the pandemic. So maybe that's accounting for it. We'll keep our fingers crossed. As far as the other series that were announced on Disney Investor Day, we have, of course, Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka and the Lando series. The Lando series, they specifically said, is being developed by Justin Simeon, and they're working on the development of it right now. They talked about Ahsoka and Rangers of the New Republic, but they didn't have anybody attached to those series just yet. So it makes you think that they might be a little bit further back in the development process. Maybe. I don't know. It's hard to say for sure because they are certainly being very particular about the information that they reveal and the schedule on which they reveal it. So for all we know, they're a lot further along than they are with the Lando series, perhaps. But the fact that they chose not to say anything about its development situation at the Investor Day, I don't think they were saving anything for a reveal like with the Boba Fett thing. So it makes me think that we're probably looking at initial development to happen in 2021 and maybe not going to principal photography until 2022 at the earliest. And over the course of 2020, there were a couple other series that were rumored, or there were leaks or spoilers or speculation about potentially, but the only other one that is publicly official and I was going to say on the calendar, it's not on the calendar yet, but it seems like it ought to get on a calendar soon, is Leslie Headland's series, The Acolyte. We knew that she had been tapped to develop a series for Disney Plus, and I think at the time that the announcement happened, they were a little vague about whether it would be live action or animated, and they just said it was going to be female-centric and in a different part of the timeline and martial arts focused. And so now we know that it has to be part of the High Republic area, or it's going to deal with part of the High Republic era at the end of it when dark side forces are beginning to emerge, which sounds very fascinating. And also because it's going to be very force focused, that certainly seems to speak to the notion of, the martial arts situation, a lot of fighting, a lot of combat kind of things. And that right there sums up everything that we saw in 2020, everything that we can reasonably speculate about for 2021 and beyond, no less. And so that right there is going to do it for our 2020 review and 2021 preview of Star Wars live action. And that's going to do it for this episode of the show as well. Thank you so much for joining me for it, as always, and may the Force be with you, wherever in the world you may be.
Star Wars 7x7 is not endorsed or sponsored yet by Lucasfilm Limited, Disney, or 20th Century Fox, and is intended for entertainment and information purposes only. Star Wars, the Star Wars logo, all names and pictures of Star Wars characters, vehicles, and any other Star Wars-related items are registered trademarks and/or copyrights of Lucasfilm Limited or their respective trademark and copyright holders. May the Force be with them. All original content is copyright 2020 by Star Wars 7x7. We hope you love it.